All right, everyone, it's a hot one today, so we're going to dive straight into it. Erik Ten Hag's 2018-2019 Ajax side in today's iconic tactic. Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, tactic links down in the description. Head you over to FM Scout. As per usual, we're going to do a quick tactical breakdown. I'm going to show you a few little highlight clips as well. And what I would like you to do before we get into it is smash a like on today's video, because if you are here, you will enjoy the content, I promise, and subscribe. Closing in on 9,000 subs. The aim is 10,000. I need to get there so I can retire. So by all means, hit that subscribe button as well. Okay, so Erik Ten Hag's Ajax side. Okay, so the Ajax side was generally a 4-2-3-1 with a couple of key principles. Obviously, I kind of felt after doing the Man United video last week with the Eriksen, Frankie de Jong double pivot, Man United are likely to, especially as well if they signed de Jong, I think they're still likely to go with a more 4-2-3-1, which with the personnel that they've got. And there's a few little roles that interest me in terms of Tadic, Martial doing the false nine. Obviously the wide players as well, Ziyech, Sancho, and then obviously the more directness and the more pace of Neres on that left-hand side as a more of a sort of like a Rashford. So there's a lot of things that we're going to look at now. Basically a 4-2-3-1. Obviously they had Mazzarri and Tagliafico as wing-back. They would often become inverted, so one would come inverted and then one would stay wide. Very difficult to replicate in FM. Obviously, you can do it where one side's inverted and one's not, but it's difficult to try and get that balance of when the ball's on the other side of the pitch, one goes wide and then one tucks in. It's pretty impossible, unfortunately, to kind of get fluently on Football Manager, but generally that's how the two fullbacks would play. Obviously, two ball players. Daley Blind, so good at progressive passing into the midfield. And then we've got a defensive shape of Lasse Schöne. I've kind of done this because I thought there's a chance in a lot of games they may, if de Jong signs, they may go with a de Jong Eriksen double pivot against teams that have got a really low block. I can see them maybe wanting to dictate things from a little bit deeper areas. So having a Christian Eriksen in there alongside de Jong, fingers crossed for Manchester United fans. Lasse Schöne was characteristically a little bit more of an attacking midfielder, but in his later years obviously dropped back and did really, really well in that deep line playmaker role. And then just in front, we've got the number 6, Donnie Van Der Beek. Obviously, Manchester United, we're looking at Fernandes, but we're going to look at him doing some forward runs. Neres on the left, we've kind of talked about, left-footed, but would often come in and act as an inside forward. And on the right, Ziyech was a little bit more creative, would drifting onto his left foot, drift inside a lot. Wing-backs as well, Tagliafico and Mazzarri would still get round and provide overlaps. Okay, so there's the basis of it. Playing out from the back was one of the main things and build up. So what we did was Frankie de Jong would go in as a would go in to make a back three, and then they would play from there. Okay, so that's something that we're going to try and replicate as much as we possibly can. So there's a few player instructions with de Jong's role. And then the last little caption is just a few little movements. The wing-back movements can be replicated on both sides. Lasse Schöne was very much not so much protecting, but adding support behind the ball. Donnie Van Der Beek would often go beyond and make a front two. Tadic would then move into midfield as well to make a midfield three. So a little bit of space created there with Tadic moving in. Neres obviously was a little bit more direct, as we said, so he would often push and be on the last line of defender. And Ziyech was a little bit more creative, a little bit more of a playmaker, wanting to get on the ball. So there's a few of the roles, not so much the roles, but there is a few of the sort of like the runs that we're wanting to replicate today. Okay, so this is how the tactic looks. Goalkeeper, sweeper, keeper on support. Wing-backs is obviously an issue because you either have an inverted wing-back or you have it as a wing-back support. I'm starting to play with an inverted wing-back a little bit in Manuel's Old Boys save, so make sure you go check that out. And I'm starting to learn and understand how it can work to your advantage a little bit. May do a video on that in a couple of weeks, but at the moment they're just general wing-backs on support. Ball-playing defender, Martinez on the left-hand side. I've kind of tweaked that. That was Daley Blind, but the Manchester United version is Martinez, who's going to be expected to definitely carry the ball. However, probably De Ligt was better at that, so there's your option. One needs to be a bit of a ball carrier more than the other one. In midfield, deep line playmaker, the Lasse Schöne role. No instructions. The register we've got as Frankie de Jong, and two things. Because he's so good at carrying the ball, so we've asked him to dribble more, and we're asking him to stay wider. The idea is that when we build up possession, I'm hoping he just drops into this little half space, and then he does create that fantastic triangle with Tagliafico and Neres on that left-hand side. So that's what we're looking to recreate with those two instructions. And then There's an argument you could maybe go attacking midfielder, shadow striker, but Donnie Van Der Beek was more of a central midfielder. He didn't start that high. It was often his late runs that caused the damage, so that's why I've got him as a central midfielder on attack. And obviously we all know central midfielder on attack works really well. And I've asked him to move into channels. Left-hand side, we've got the Neres role. We've put him on attack just so we can get nice and high. We should be getting a lot of goals for Marcus Rashford on that right-hand side. And then the Ziyech roll, cutting in on that on his left foot, no instructions, but we've got it on support just so he drifts into these areas rather than getting too high and quickly. And then number 9, the Tadic, false 9, and we're asking him to roam from position. Okay, moving into the play instructions, mentality, positive, in possession, fairly wide. Underlaps, because we want those underlaps from especially Donnie Van Der Beek. You will occasionally get them as well from the midfielders. And obviously the fullbacks occasionally will often do on underlap runs. Working to the box, because obviously it's Tadic. You have got Ronaldo, so if you wanted to copy this at Man United, there's a few tweaks there. Ronaldo is so good in there, you might want to take that off. Be more expressive, much shorter passing. That's just to help us retain possession and get those possession stats up. Slightly higher tempo. Roll it out. Goalkeeper, short distribution as well to the centre-halves. Counter and counter-press, pretty obvious for a Ten Hag-style tactic. Out of possession, higher line of engagement, much higher defensive line with offside trap. Defensive width, I've just kept it standard. Use tighter marking, that just helps with the press, I find. I haven't done slightly more. I haven't gone any higher with the trigger press itself, just because sometimes it's a little bit of an overkill and you get players pressing when you're not necessarily need to press, but I've found it works pretty well as it is. Okay, so that is the team. That is the tactic. Links, as I said, down in the description. Let's go and very quickly check out and look at a few little highlights to show you just how I've managed to get this Ten Hag 2018-2019 Ajax tactic going. Okay, so just a little clip to show you of how aggressive we are. As you can see, we've got one defender back. We've only got to throw it in this midfield. I've watched the Man United game against Crystal Palace today and just showing you how aggressive and how many bodies they've actually got forward. You've got Frankie de Jong and Luke Shaw, both camped on the edge of the area. We're still looking at short passes, retaining possession. Just going to keep our eye on de Jong because we are asking him to stay wider with the ball. Now he comes in, gets involved a little bit now, making a nice little triangle. This is the triangle we've talking about. Obviously the Tagliafico, Neres and de Jong partnership. Lovely little underlapping run. There's your underlapping run from the fullback that we spoke about. And obviously because we've got a register who just constantly likes to create, picks out a wonderful pass, and then it's a wonderful ball across. That was like the first goal I scored in pre-season. I thought, this tactic is absolutely tremendous. All right, so this is a little highlight there just to show you the movement of de Jong. Obviously, that register, you need someone with real class playing as a register. But if you can manage to get your hands on Frankie de Jong, he will be able to recreate stuff like that. Remember that playing instruction, though, as in stay wider. The next one is how well we press. Obviously, we've tempted him in here, and then who is that? Going engaging de Jong, even though he's a register, very aggressive. Going for the press, because we've got tighter marking on, it helps us get a little bit more compact, I think, without the ball. And then we're off. Rashford's won it. He's into the false 9. Lovely little give and goes. 3 one-touch passes, look. Sancho again, playing it off. Rashford, that's a wonderful work goal. What I'll do is, I'll just pull it back 10 seconds so you can see it in all its glory. So here we go, look. Tight press. In we go, in we go. Lovely passing, lovely combinations, and absolutely tremendous finish. And I think that's the run of Rashford there, is the Neres kind of run. I think if it was an inverted winger, he necessarily wouldn't be that aggressive, perhaps. Inside forward attack, just make sure he gets up, tries to get in the box, tries to score goals, and get that little bit higher with it being on attack duty. Okay, the next little one is just a little bit of a build-up play. We actually win a penalty here, but we get the ball. Now, what I do like is Ronaldo's starting position. Normally, when you play with an advanced forward, a complete forward, he would be a good 20 yards up here where the other central, where Bednarak is. And then that, from Rashford, would often turn into more of a punt, either in the channel or for something for Bednarak to like head down and regain possession. So what I do like about this, because of the false 9, is a little bit deeper, and it gives us the opportunity to retain possession and keep hold of the ball, and then we're off. And what I do watch, Luke Shaw's going to win the penalty for us. So just watch his run. We'll keep him checked and marked. He's involved in the build-up. He's off, and once again, Frankie de Jong just on this left-hand side a little bit. just a straight run. No one's tracked Luke Shaw because the runs come from deep, and he's in. And I think it was actually got a really clumsy tackle from Van Der Beek. But the movement, the F9 as well, really helping us retain possession. Said if that was an advance forward, it would have been a boot up the pitch. The ball gets recycled, and Southampton would have gone again. And here we go again. The triangle of these three. I think if you can get three ballers on one side of the pitch, in particular, you want pace. I think from this left-hand side with Neres, it was quite a direct player. And once again, De Jong. Anything with a high line, with the quality of De Jong, just to launch that ball. Every time he picks up the ball, register. I imagine a lot of you have not used a register in FM. Let me know by all means down in the comments. I think it works with a double pivot because he's got that option, because he does like to get involved a little bit. But the register, if he's got the vision and the technique and the passing, picks out passes like this, and then we're in on this left-hand side. Rashford does really well. It's across Sancho, to be fair. It's a wonderful header. I can't imagine Jadon Sancho Ziyech doing that, but it's all about the register, all about Frankie de Jong. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Sorry it's a quick one. It's just a little bit spicy, a little bit hot in here. So I said next week is going to be the Spain tactic from 2012. I think it was the 4-6-0 strikerless. So by all means, make sure you've subscribed to the channel, like today's video. Let me know if you're going to use the tactic. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys. Take care. See you later.